I'm calling on Nigerians. Please, I said it today in court. I want people to investigate how much that Nigeria spent in prosecuting Nnamdi Kanu.
We are looking at what might be the most expensive prison transfer in the history of Nigerian politics, and the accusations flying around are heavy enough to sink a ship. The headline you saw is not just a rumor. It is the center of a furious legal and political storm that has just exploded in Abuja. Barrister Maxwell Opara, one of the lead counsels for the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, has come out swinging. He is alleging that the presidency, under the administration of President Bola Tinubu, has spent millions of naira, taxpayers' money, just to ensure that Nnamdi Kanu is kept as far away from justice as possible. We are talking about the shocking decision to move a man who was just sentenced to life imprisonment from the DSS facility in Abuja all the way to the Sokoto Correctional Center. This is not just about geography, this is about strategy, and according to Opara, it is about hate. Why Sokoto? That is the question on the lips of every legal observer today. Sokoto is over 700 kilometers away from Abuja, where the appeal court is located. It is a journey that requires either a flight or a grueling 12-hour drive through some of the most insecure roads in the northwest. Maxwell Opara is asking a very simple but damaging question. Why spend millions on logistics, heavy security convoys, and fueling jets to transport one man to the edge of the Sahara Desert when Kuje Prison is just down the road in Abuja? The lawyer insists that this move is a calculated attempt to frustrate Kanu's appeal process. He argues that by keeping him in Sokoto, the government is making it impossible for his legal team to have the constant access needed to prepare a complex appeal against a life sentence. Now, let's dig into the timeline because the events of the last few weeks have been fast and furious. On November 20th, 2025, Justice James Omotosho delivered that earth-shattering judgment sentencing Kanu to life imprisonment for terrorism. Almost immediately, before the ink on the judgment paper was even dry, Kanu was whisked away. He wasn't taken to Kuje, where most high-profile detainees go. He was taken to Sokoto. Opara claims this operation cost a fortune in security logistics alone. You don't just move a man like Nnamdi Kanu in a regular van. It requires armored personnel carriers, DSS operatives, and likely a special flight. Opara is connecting the dots and calling it a waste of public funds driven by a personal vendetta against the IPOB leader. He essentially accused the Tinubu administration of prioritizing punishment over justice. The narrative gets even darker when you look at the legal battles that happened just this month. In early December 2025, specifically around December 8 and 9, Kanu's team went back to court. They filed a motion begging the court to bring him back to Abuja, or at least move him to Kuje or Suleja. Their argument was practical. How can a lawyer effectively defend a client he cannot see? How can they sign documents, review evidence, and strategize for the Supreme Court when every visit requires a 2-day expedition to Sokoto? But the court said no. Justice Omotosho rejected the application, ruling that the Correctional Service has the right to determine where a convict serves his time. This ruling was the final straw that led to Opara's explosive outbursts about the millions being spent to keep him isolated. And we have to talk about the political angle because you cannot separate Nnamdi Kanu from the politics of 2025. The accusation of Tinubu hate is a strong one. Supporters of Kanu believe that the president is using Kanu as a scapegoat to send a message to the southeast. They argue that while bandits and terrorists in the north are sometimes offered amnesty or rehabilitation programs, Kanu is being given the hardest possible treatment. Maxwell Opara's outburst feeds directly into this sentiment. He is painting a picture of a government that is willing to burn resources just to make one man suffer. It raises the question, is this about national security or is it about breaking a man's spirit? The situation is so tense that even governors are getting involved. Just a few days ago, on December 20th, 2025, the Abia State Governor, Alex Otti, had to come out and defend his own visit to Kanu in Sokoto. Governor Otti clarified that his visit was for dialogue and peace, not for political ambition. But the mere fact that his sitting governor had to travel all the way to Sokoto to see a citizen of his state speaks volumes about the extreme isolation Kanu is facing. Otti's visit confirmed that Kanu is alive, but it also highlighted the distance. If a governor with all his resources finds it a major trip, imagine what it's like for Kanu's lawyers and family members who don't have private jets. Now, before we go deeper into what this means for the peace of the Southeast, I need to ask you a favor. If you are enjoying this breakdown and you want to keep getting the real news that the mainstream media might be too scared to analyze, please smash that like button right now. It helps the video spread to more people who need to know the truth. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Click that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. We are tracking this story every single day and you don't want to miss the next update. The millions Opara talks about isn't just about the transport, it's about the daily cost of keeping a high-profile prisoner in a facility that might not be equipped for him. There are reports that Kanu needs special medical attention and a specific diet. Providing these in Sokoto, far from his usual doctors in Abuja, adds another layer of cost and logistical nightmare. Opara argues that this money could be better spent on fixing the dilapidated prison infrastructure rather than funding a political exile within the same country. The legal team is not backing down. They are preparing to take this battle to the Court of Appeal. They are challenging not just the life sentence, but the refusal to transfer him. They argue that a convict has a right to fair hearing, and fair hearing includes access to counsel. If the government creates a geographical barrier that makes access to counsel impossible, then they are violating the Constitution. This is the crux of Opara's argument. He is saying that the government is using distance as a weapon. As we wrap up 2025, the Nnamdi Kanu saga has shifted from a trial to a battle over human rights and government spending. The questions Opara raised are valid. Why Sokoto? Why spend the extra money? And is there truly a hatred for the man that supersedes the logic of cost-saving and judicial efficiency? The coming weeks will be critical. Will the appeal court intervene and order his return to Abuja? Or will Nnamdi Kanu remain in the harsh climate of Sokoto? We will be watching closely.